So we're starting kind of in the middle of things in this update.
Uh-oh.
Because you may remember I told you there was an area that wasn't very special. Well, guess what? I lied. Because you go over here and you destroy this plant. There's a secret exit there.
Aha!
Yeah, this is the secret exit to Road to Ruin. Because you couldn't get that clear gem, or that secondary gem earlier, and now we can.
Ooh.
This is actually, I think in the PS1 version, this is one of the areas where you can get the gem. You can get this clear gem with an a long glitch jump, but you still have to go through this entrance because it counts for 1 percentage point. At least I think that's the case. It's been a while. I'll have to double check the tool-assisted speedrun of Crash 2 100%.
Big white mice!
Yeah, that gap over there is pretty easily accessible. If I'm remembering correctly anyway, with an extended glitch jump and the original version. So I kind of like this bonus level. You remember there was that one section in, I think it was the high road in Crash 1 that had a sequence of exclamation mark based puzzles?
Yes.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've got over the footage of that LP. Also, accidentally showing off that these crumbly platforms do reform eventually.
Don't question it, it's magic.
It's platforming magic.
Ancient Incan secret in Australia.
Well, it's more Pixel secret than it is Incan, but, you know, similar idea. Yes, I get it, Coco. You're very impatient. She still hasn't gotten her laptop battery.
Right.
Which, yeah, that was the inciting incident of the whole plot, and it never comes up again. In fact, to spoil the one part of the ending cutscene that isn't part of the plot, she still uses her laptop in the ending, even though her battery got fried. I can only assume that in the interval, she rejigged her laptop so it runs on solar power.
I like to think she just went and found a charging cable.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is for 97. You've got, like, those lithium battery packs. I guess, yeah, that makes sense.
Sure, yeah, 97. You know, the laptop lasts for 40 minutes.
Anyway, in hindsight, it may not have been the best idea to record the two Ruin levels back to back. Oh well. It's too late now.
It's okay, I like the aesthetic.
Anyway, there's a surprise waiting for us here. Oh no, don't spin attack into that section of boxes or you will blow up.
How many kids fell for that?
I did, several times as a youngster. I never learned, apparently. Anyway, these boxes over here. I guess I should mention that the one major change I don't like about the physics in terms of handling is that it makes jumping over Nitro Boxes specifically more difficult than it was in the original. Because the starting momentum when you're doing a jump from a standing still position, it doesn't move as forward, and the jump is a little shallower than it was in the PS1 version. So you kind of have to have a running start to get over Nitro Boxes. Anyway, this giant ape, who's just a Potoroo reskin, is back.
Doing the Donkey Kong thing. We won't get sued by Nintendo, we swear.
Not unless we say a certain phrase that's been trademarked. In hindsight, it was smart of Nintendo to trademark that particular phrase, because any lawyer will use that phrase, you know, as an attention-getting pun when initiating the lawsuit, and then they could do a second one At least I think that's how the law works.
I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure you're correct.
If any of you out there are entertainment lawyers, please confirm the veracity of our joke.
Yeah. We'd love to tell you what the catchphrase is, but we don't want to get sued.
Anyway, there's the gem right there. Once again, there's a secondary path. Don't take it. Because it jumps you ahead pretty far into the level. Like right where the crystal is. So, don't do that. You can still keep the gem. It's fine. But you'll miss a ton of boxes unless you kill yourself.
There are a lot more backtrackers in this game, aren't there?
Yeah, and this is me using a route that cuts out as much backtracking as possible. I still maintain, though, that if you're considering like the end game of Crash 1, where you basically had to go through the entire game again just to clear out all the clear gems, I still think this game cuts down on the backtracking compared to the first.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at the very least, it's integrated more naturally, where you're backtracking as you go, as opposed to having to dump it all at the end.
Oh yeah, there's a lesson to be learned here about non-linear level design.
Yeah, take that, Super Metroid. Learn all your lessons about non-linearity from Crash Bandicoot.
This right here, this is the animal that Samus kills. By the way, nobody's gonna get the incentive joke.
I'm assuming it's some kind of Metroid Dread reference, but... Then again, that was a bird that was the enemy. That was one of the Chozo, wasn't it?
There's a bird, there's a couple of mice, and there's another thing in a hidden room in Super Metroid.
Oh yeah, the animals. The animals, is that the animals that you can save during the escape sequence?
Yes.
Yeah. I should remember that, because that was one of the earliest memes to come out of GDQ, was saving the animals as a donation incentive.
And the one year that was taunt the animals, open the room but don't go in it.
Anyway, as if to taunt me about the Nitro Boxes, lots of explosives and enemies near explosives in this last section of the level.
Ooh. Oh. God, they're...
This obstacle is pretty much ripped directly from the first game. Like, I'm pretty sure they're the same textures. In the PS1 version, they just recycled the same textures. There's also this.
Same texture, same function.
I think you're meant to spin attack the mice into the green exclamation mark box, but I could never get it to work. While we've got a little section here, you may have noticed that there have been other iron boxes that have showed up, specifically the iron spring box, to make sure you didn't have to backtrack. Yep. Once we get to about halfway through Crash 3, there's a story to be told about a specific type of iron crate and controversy surrounding the updated remake re-release of Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled. I promise it will make sense when we get there. I did not play Crash Team Racing as a kid, but I've heard good things, and maybe I should start playing it now that I'm not recording LP footage for a while.
The thing is, I've never played any of these, so I'm going in completely blank slate, right? I've never played any of these games. I've never played any of the spin-off games.
Actually, now that I think about it, I played about 1 hour of Crash Team Racing. I was at a hotel. It was somewhere in the US, which I realize is not narrowing things down. But it was at a time where, oh yeah, Lumberjack lab assistants will now rush at you. But this was at a time where hotels let you rent video games for like a fee per hour. And I think that's the only time I ever played Crash Team Racing when I was younger.
You paid $20 an hour, probably, to play Crash Team Racing for 1 hour.
Anyway, I hope you liked the B obstacle. Because now there's more than one B.
Oh, no.
I think there's 4? No, 3 or 4, depending. Thankfully, you can easily destroy them when you're burrowed underground. This is probably the one level where that old trick from the PS1 version where you can jump on top of the beehive really comes in handy. Because these sections become a lot easier if you do that. Doesn't work in this version, though. Also, I'm about to do something really stupid.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was not smart. Also, thanks to a quirk in the way that the bees spawn in the NST, you can kind of taunt them by sort of going over to the side. See, it's those kinds of quirks that I really enjoy. The weird things that make this separate from the original.
The little, this doesn't seem right, but it works.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is one part. Yeah, the tiki statues in this level go significantly faster than they do in Digging It. Also, it's actually very tight timing to defeat that lumberjack when going underground, because you are still vulnerable to the mallet during that initial burrowing animation.
Oh, that's cheap.
It worked like that in the original. Anyway, something's not right. I don't know. This seems weird. Notice anything weird? Those Nitro Boxes aren't bouncing. So obviously that's a staircase that we have to take to another area. So this is the path that leads to the purple gem, which I think is either the last or the second last of the color gems we've collected. This area is also weird, because we now have the purple gem, and you could just die if you want and skip this whole section. You'll never see this as a speedrun, but I'm gonna go through this to show it off anyway. And it's probably one of the most broken, unfinished parts of the game, which is probably why, as a quick fix, Naughty Dog just put the purple gem right at the start so you can skip all this.
Yeah, there's not much here.
This is the closest you'll come to bullet hell. Actually, no, that's wrong. There's one boss fight in Crash Bandicoot 3 that could possibly be interpreted as bullet hell. But aside from that, this is the one section.
Yeah, you weren't kidding when you said unfinished.
Yeah, I get the feeling that there was a level designer at Naughty Dog who really liked that part, and as a compromise, they decided, okay, we'll put the gem right at the start. So it's still technically in the game, but no one is going to play it.
Yeah, they got some range on them.
Yeah. I cannot emphasize enough, I really miss that pollen grenade animation. Also, that's what happens if you try to do the old trick. I forgot what version I was playing temporarily.
See, Naughty Dog knew. Naughty Dog knew you were going to go for that, and they just made it impossible.
Actually, that's Vicarious Visions who did that. Through their negligence and not including every little detail from the originals. The bastards.
In my headcanon, I like to think that Naughty Dog called up Vicarious and said, hey, you know that one thing you used to be able to do with the beehives? Don't let him do it.
Well, some of the QA testers were apparently lifelong fans of Crash and very dedicated players. There may have been some speedrunners as well, I'm not sure. But they were basically there for authenticity, to make sure that the game played reasonably well. Wait a minute. That completely contradicts what I just said regarding the mallet and the lumberjack lab assistant. Never mind. I'm a poser. I've never actually played this series prior to this LP. I'm so sorry for having deceived all of you for however many months this thread has been up now.
It's okay. We all made
Anyway, yeah, this is another... that's another switch that just completely fucking nukes the game engine when you hit it. Because somehow it's about... it's a strange thing. It's almost like the Nitro Boxes still exist outside of the depth of field or level of detail. Weird.
It's calculating all the explosions even though they're not actually there.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, I have Sad Bandicoot bookmarked, and every time I type in youtube.com, it takes me to that because it's in my bookmarks.
Crash, I have discovered that the opposition is being masterminded by Dr. Nitrous Brio, the inventor of the Evolvo Ray. Brio was responsible for our misunderstandings in the past. He forced me to assist him in his plot for world domination, and he's at it again. He will attempt to stand in our way. Be on your guard, Crash. Deliver the crystals to Engine.
I wasn't kidding about that static, by the way. Cortex mentions, like, the path between warp rooms and also the things being above the level doors several times, and instead of changing the dialogue, they just covered it up with static. It's very weird. I don't know why they did that.
They had to have re-recorded some of this dialogue, though.
It's all re-recorded with the new voice actors.
Oh, yeah.
Like Dr. Cortex said, give the 20 crystals you collected to me!
So, this is a very weird boss fight. It's the only time in the game that Crash can throw Wumpa Fruit, and you use it to destroy pieces of Engine's mech.
Okay.
There's a variant of this boss in Crash Bandicoot 3 that's a lot more fleshed out, and I really like it. This one's, I mean, I guess it's okay.
A little generic, but I mean, it'll do.
And I want to point out that it feels like it's unfinished, because we will be seeing the PlayStation version of this fight. It definitely feels like an idea that was mostly implemented, but not really polished. Anyway, as soon as you destroy his arms, Engine gains new attacks. There are 2 different types of missile attack that he can do. And unfortunately, because there's no aiming reticle or anything for this, this fight can take very long. Though I do like the little detail that as soon as one piece of Engine's mech, which, by the way, if you leave it alone while it's sparking, it will eventually destroy itself. But, of course, if you throw the Wumpa Fruit at it, it'll break faster.
I mean, this is adorable. It's like Dr. Eggman's idiot little brother wants to pee on the moon, too.
So here's his final attack, which actually destroys the platforms.
Wait, can you actually lose? Oh, okay, so it respawns them.
Yeah, they do eventually respawn, yeah. Also, there's a whole couple lines of dialogue that are removed in this version because Crash no longer does the Crash dance at the end of boss fights. So, yeah, going back to the PS... Oh, no, sorry. This is the skip for the Green Gem section, which can be done in both versions of the game. It only saves a couple seconds. Anyway, here's the Polar Bear life trick in the PS1 version.
Oh my god.
It's the same thing. And now here's the Engine boss fight in the PlayStation version.
Like Dr. Cortex said, keep the 20 crystals you have collected to me.
Yeah, this does look a little half-baked.
The main reason why I consider this unfinished is because Crash doesn't have a throwing animation in this version. He just sort of sits there as Wumpa Fruit materialize out from his chest.
I mean, he has to store it somewhere.
Yeah, you could also destroy both arms at once. I don't know what happened there. I think Duck Station kind of fucked up on me for a second or two. Anyway, you can also see that the missile attacks don't have as many tells about where they're going to land. That was all added in the NST. And here are the extra lines that were removed. for no discernible reason.
Just patiently wait for him to spawn in there.
Master Cortex will be very displeased with your resistance. Prepare to suffer his wrath!
It just seems like such an arbitrary change to not include those lines. Like there was enough time, even without the crash dance. There was enough time to include those lines. I don't know.
It's so unfinished in the PlayStation version that they don't bother to orient Crash before the crash dance so that when he turns around, he's facing you.
Oh, that happens all the time, especially in Crash 3. Like they never bothered to fix that. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna get into the proper end game next time. That's the start of the 5th warp room. Now that we've broken engine, by which I mean we've broken the game engine
Several times.
Yeah.